Hello, hockey fans. My name is David. That would start this message on the morning of 12:52, Monday, 9th of May, North American Eastern Time. So it's still in the Mountain Time Zone, 10:52. Sunday evening, 10:52, 9:52 in the Pacific Time Zone, 11:52 in the North American Central Time Zone. So I watched a couple games, that of my hometown Leafs and of the Edmonton Oilers. So one would have thought that the Leafs and Oilers would have learned from the loss by the Calgary Flames in a game that ended early Sunday morning North American Eastern Time. That they needed to start on time, play solid defense, and score early and often. What happened? Well, there was an embarrassment. Now, Leafs losing 7-3. That's right. Even without the empty net goals, the Leafs ended up allowing 5. Then there was a goal by a controversial goal that Carl Grundstrom of the LA Kings scored against the Oilers. That resulted in a challenge by Oilers head coach Jay Woodcroft. The challenge was unsuccessful, but even if the goal had been wiped out by that challenge, would it have made a difference? Well, because the Oilers offense didn't get going, didn't make much of one, that's for sure. And yes, I know the Calgary Flames ended up losing. Yeah, their offense didn't get going. The Oilers' offense didn't get going either. The Leafs didn't end up having such a big problem with scoring as much as perhaps it might have. But the problem is the defense and the penalties just sap the energy out of the game. Being physical matters. But the Leafs are poorly built that way. The question is whether the Leafs will manage to win this playoff series. There are two things that stand in their way. One, Vasilevsky, the Tampa Bay Lightning main goalie, has not lost consecutive playoff games 16 times in a row. That means every time that he's lost a game the last 16 times, he's won the next one. So the Leafs have to be careful to not lose consecutive games. The Oilers worked hard to win consecutive games to give themselves a chance to win that playoff series. All the Oilers have to do is win games 5 and 7 if they end up losing game 6. That's all the Oilers have to do. So getting that win by the Oilers on Tuesday at Rogers Place in Central Alberta will be important. The Oilers just couldn't get their offense going. It just sputtered. I predicted the Kings would come out hard, just as I predicted the Lightning would come out hard against the Leafs. The Kings ended up scoring 2 goals late in the third period. The defense for the Oilers just collapsed. Maybe not as bad as with the Leafs, but still, you don't score, you don't win. The Oilers have to find a way to get ready for Game 5. Thankfully, in front of a home crowd. Calgary Flames will be playing in under 24 hours. At this point, I'm not sure between the Leafs and Oilers which team I see as more likely to win a playoff series. The Leafs certainly showed they could score, and score more than just a couple goals. Indeed, the Leafs scored as many goals in Game 4 of the Bolts-Leaf series as the Flames had managed to score in the first 3 games of the Stars-Flames series. So what does that mean? Scoring doesn't seem to be as much of an issue as I feared it might be. Problem is, when it comes to defense, there's a big problem. Yeah, sure, Jack Campbell should have stopped that 4th shot. Craig Simpson of Sportsnet claimed that Campbell should have had that should have been able to catch that goal or that shot that ended up going behind him. But by having failed to do so, led in a rather ugly goal. On the other hand, it's not yet conclusive for me that Campbell shouldn't be started again. But if Campbell allows him too many ugly goals, I've got to question if the Leafs even have a chance of winning the Bolts-Leafs series. Because in my view, it's very difficult for me to see a win of the Bolts-Leafs series if Campbell gives up too many goals like the fourth Lightning goal of Game 4 of that series. Likewise, when it comes to the Oilers, well, I don't know what to think about that loss. No goals scored at all. None. It's about execution. If a team is shut out, it's a problem. Because again, it's a lack of execution. Sure, Jonathan Quick was good for the Kings. He wasn't pulled, unlike in Game 3. He didn't give up any goals, so there was no reason for Todd McLellan, head coach of the Kings, to pull him. Well, Mike Smith, I don't think there was a reason to pull either, because he'd only allowed 2 goals going into the latter part going to the very last quarter of the third period. That being said, again, it's very clear that the Leafs don't have this series in the bag, having lost all but one of their last 9 games following the taking of a series lead. That is important, an important stat. The last 9 games following the taking by the Leafs of a series lead, they've lost. Yeah, sure, the Leafs certainly can take a series lead, or at least, they've not lost consecutive games. So that's an encouraging trend. Not so encouraging was the way the Leafs lost. Their defense wasn't there. Of course, goaltending may very well be an issue too. That said, I was relieved that Erik Källgren, in relief of Campbell, stopped every one of the 10 shots that he faced. I have hope that Källgren can be the main backup goalie next season for the Leafs. Problem is, though, is that Källgren doesn't yet have a lot of NHL experience. So for how many games he can be used, the Swede can be used, who knows? But there's no doubt that he certainly made himself a good candidate. The only question will be if Källgren will be used again in the postseason, and if so, how he'll do. Certainly the Leafs will need to thicken their goaltending depth in the offseason. The only question is whether it's simply because it's good to do, given how thin it is, or if because Jack Campbell lets in any combo of games 5 through 7 and the Leafs end up losing, the American goalie lets in too many ugly goals. That's going to be the question. And also other individual performances, including of John Tavares, of William Nylander, who on this on the Sunday evening North American Eastern Time scored 2 goals. That was important. John Tavares, among members of the Core 4, has yet to score a goal, but has assisted on 1 goal. Problem is, though, is that Tavares is being paid $11 million a season on average for the rest of his contract with the Leafs, and has no movement clause. Question is if Tavares can up his production. It's not clear if he will, but again, in the offseason, there probably will be some changes. There are some pending unrestricted free agents and restricted free agents. Question is, how many pending UFAs and RFAs should the Leafs re-sign? It's not clear. Depends how they perform. In the case of RFAs, some have arbitration rights. I don't know if all of them do, but there's no doubt that the Leafs still have some rights with respect to pending RFAs, who can't just walk if they want to. There are restrictions on what they can do. That being said, there's no doubt whatever that any player who is neither a pending UFA nor RFA, we're going to look at those players, how well they perform, and how well the pending RFAs and UFAs perform, because those changes should the Leafs lose their opening round series, i.e., by the coming weekend, Leafs are out, there will definitely need to be changes. In the offseason, there may be changes, even if the Leafs end up winning a playoff round. The other question will be the urgency of those changes. Who knows? It's hard to know at this point. But there's no doubt either that the Leafs, and that again, the Oilers certainly have the potential to win a playoff series. It's not clear how they'll get around being just unable to score in Game 4 of the Kings-Oilers series. Flames have had problems scoring, goals in a given game. In Game 3, scoring 2 goals, more than in Games 1 and 2 combined. So it's not so clear if there's going to be a battle of Alberta in terms of teams that win Game 3 after a 1-1 series tie. 2/3 have gone on, a bit over 2/3 have gone on to win such series. So in terms of the Calgary Flames, don't look likely to proceed on that. But 2 games to 1, and given how the Flames have lost, not able to score more than 2 goals a game, it's hard to be optimistic the Flames will advance. If they can't solve Jake Ottinger of the Stars in Game 4 of that series, just wait. That series may very well be over, effectively speaking. Because coming back from a 3-1 series lead, which the Habs did against the Leafs, is likely not going to happen. The Flames are not built the same way as last season's playoff Habs were. I'm going to go back to, so I'm really hoping for a Canadian team to advance to a conference semifinal. It's not clear if any of them will, but I see at this point the Flames as least likely, and a tie at this point, because it could be either or at this point. It could be that the Oilers and Leafs both advance. Could be that the Leafs or Oilers, but not both, advance. It could be that neither the Leafs nor Oilers end up advancing. It's not clear. But there's no doubt in the world that if the Leafs fail to advance, Kyle Dubas and Brendan Shanahan should lose, respectively, their GM and president jobs. After 4 seasons of the Dubas-Shanahan experiment, and the Shanahan experiment for 4 seasons before that, no playoff series success, despite a big, bold, so-called Shana plan that was supposed to have prepared the Leafs for playoff success, has come so far well short of the mark, but hopefully this time it'll work. Because otherwise, I would consider once again the Leafs as not yet a serious Stanley Cup contender. Anyway, go Oilers go, go Flames go, and go Leafs go.